Did not realize this is the same kind of hat Bennett the Sage wears until after the Dab Woman video was about done. So he needed a new hat. Hello and welcome again to BMC Theater, where we take a look at the full-motion video games of BMC Studio, creators of such exquisite titles as Dab Man, Dab Woman, Gimmulator 2, and a bunch of other crap that is not worth discussing. But today we're not just talking about any BMC game, we are talking about BMC's first animated game, where all of the footage is BMC's own original animation. And not only that, but Elaine, the head of BMC, swore to me on Twitter that he believes this to be the first unironically funny game that they have made. So let us partake in BMC's self-proclaimed funniest game to date. This is Sexy Comedy, It Was a Mistake. And no, I'm not going to make a pun out of that title because some low-hanging fruit is too low even for me. The game begins with a guy discussing an upcoming Tinder date with his friend. The friend offers to give him something important for the date, and you can choose either a condom or a gun. I opted for the gun, just to see what would happen.
Take this.
Why? That's kind of extreme.
What if she says no?
Oh, you're right. Better be prepared for the worst. No means yes.
So, our protagonists have no qualms about threatening a woman at gunpoint for sex because, to quite literally directly quote them, no means yes. What part of that was supposed to be funny? Is the joke that we're playing as rapists? Is the joke that the game is reinforcing that women have no say in what's done to them? Then the game cuts to a guy playing golf somewhere, and then it cuts to a girl walking up to one of the same character models as before. The girl asks if he knows where the photography college is, and you can be honest or be a douchebag. Let's see what being honest does.
Actually, I have no clue, but I know something else.
What?
That you can go fuck off.
Okay. That scene in X-Men First Class where Wolverine tells Professor X and Magneto to fuck off wasn't funny because he said the words fuck yourself. It was funny because it was a subversion of expectations, the delivery and timing were well done, and because Charles and Eric had a humorous reaction to it. The phrase fuck off is not a self-contained joke unto itself, so why was that funny? Then it cuts to space orbit. This was the point I realized that Sexy Comedy doesn't have a storyline. It's a series of 7 little sketches, each less than a minute long, and each has 2 punchlines to pick from. Each choice has no impact on how the rest of the game plays out, so exactly like BMC's adventure games, come to think of it. Then 2 guys discuss a date that one found online, but he doesn't know what to do because she isn't sexy enough for him.
But is she sexy?
Nah, she looks like a green bean.
What the fuck? What are you gonna do?
Charming. You can choose to have sex with her or to kidnap her.
Well, I always wanted a sex slave, so I'm gonna kidnap her and make her my sex slave.
What if she says no?
I don't give a shit.
That sketch was just a guy blandly stating that he's a rapist. What part of that did they think was funny? Is this what passes for comedy in Canada? Then 2 guys discuss the fact that one just got dumped by his girlfriend. You can choose whether it's because he cheated on her or because he gave her an STD. Well, gee, given how catastrophically unfunny AIDS-moji was, I wonder how they'll approach STDs 3 games later.
I slept with someone else, and turns out that person had an STD.
Yeah?
Of course, I didn't tell her. If I did, she would never have had sex with me.
Yeah, I mean, that's normal.
She is angry that I gave her an STD.
What? I mean, you are her boyfriend. She should be happy you're with her.
I know. What a whore. She even said I ruined her life.
There's something wrong with her.
Yeah, I mean, it's just AIDS after all.
Shut the fuck up! There is a massive misconception in comedy that if something is offensive, it's automatically funny. It's not. You can tell a funny joke that's also offensive. It's the entire premise of Cards Against Humanity, and I love that game. But a statement is not funny just because it's offensive. For example, a simple statement that you're going to bring a gun in case your date doesn't want to sleep with you, which, by the way, that's called rape! It's just a statement, not a joke. And the fact that it's an offensive statement does not make it a joke. This game's attempts, these shallow, feeble-ass attempts at comedy, just declaring that women are sexual objects and making light of giving a woman AIDS because she's your property, there are no jokes here. No setups, no punchlines. They're just mind-blowingly offensive comments delivered with a completely straight face, and the offensiveness in and of itself is apparently supposed to be funny. It's not! It's fucking disgusting! And I know that BMC's primary demographic is children. Maybe kids laugh at offensive statements with no context. Maybe I'm just out of touch or triggered. But if being out of touch with the youth means not laughing at the implication of raping a woman at gunpoint because you think that you're obligated to sex, it's not gonna bug me that much. And aside from the obscenely offensive subject matter, well, I'll quote an old movie like any snobbish critic would do. There's a scene in the old black and white movie Cyrano de Bergerac where a patron of a play walks up to Cyrano and makes fun of his big nose by just telling him that he has a large nose.
Your nose. Your nose is rather large.
Cyrano then proceeds to verbally destroy the guy for wasting his shot on such a weak-ass insult.
No, young sir, you're too simple. Why, you might have said a great many things. Why waste your opportunity?
And then he lists off several funny and more biting ways the guy could have insulted him.
Do you love the little birds so much that when they come and sing to you, you give them this to perch on? Cautious. Take care. A weight like that might make you top-heavy.
The point of this scene is that any dumbass can state the obvious. Any idiot can walk up to Cyrano and go, ha ha, you have a big nose. Any moron can film themselves dropping F-bombs, calling things gay, or saying offensive shit online, but it's an empty, useless statement without nuance or wit layered over it to mold it into an actual point or a real joke. To do otherwise is to waste the time of everyone involved.
These, my dear sir, are things you might have said had you some tinge of letters or of wit to color your discourse. But wit, not so. You never had an atom.
Almost every so-called joke in the game is just a bland statement with no setup or punchline, except half of the statements aren't wildly misogynist. In one of the sketches, a guy orders a sex doll. You can choose to have his friend either have sex with both of them and the guy says that's gay and they call the doll a bitch, or you can opt to have him steal the doll by materializing a gun in his hand and telling said friend to leave the room. End scene. Either might have been a decent setup for a joke if it weren't for the limp voice acting and the fact they didn't write any actual jokes to stick the landing. Truth be told, I'm low on material to make this video. I played through the game twice to see all the punchlines, didn't skip any of the videos, and recorded the bonus video on the main menu. I ended up with a grand total of 14 minutes of gameplay footage. This has got to be BMC's shortest game yet. The one joke that I chuckled at comes in a sketch where two guys realize that they don't have any beer, and one suggests that they drink their own urine. This joke actually has an amusing setup and a halfway decent punchline. It's not just a crappy voice actor saying gay or bitch. There's also a joke in the final sketch where a hooker tells a guy to suck a dick when he doesn't want to pay her, and he takes it literally and tries to give his friend a blowjob. The payoff sucks, but it's an amusing subversion of a typical interaction. It's the first half of a decent joke. But one chuckle and an amused smile do not sufficiently counteract cringing my face off as a group of teenagers try their damnedest to be edgy while having the edge of a butter knife. The biggest takeaway that I get from this game is that it feels like BMC is desperate to look cool, and they're failing horrendously. If you opt not to kidnap the girl they met online, the alternate punchline is, and again I directly quote, "Not having sex is for pussies." The alternate punchline to the beer sketch has one of the guys imploring his friend to kill him because, "Grr, manly men love beer, beer is life, literally would rather have my throat slit than go a few hours without a beer." And when the guys run out of beer, one of the actors says, "Oh fuck," but he doesn't say it like he's actually upset. He says it like he's playing a macho man in a cheesy commercial.
We're out of beer.
Oh, fuck.
You could say that instance is just indicative of the lousy voice acting, and it is, but to me it smacks more of how
desperate the game feels. It feels like it was written by someone overcompensating for their masculinity or trying to look as macho and cool as possible for the dude bro demographic, but it's just painfully clear that they don't understand the material that they're trying to mine for jokes, and what's meant to be hip and cool just makes you cringe. The bonus video available on the main menu is Elaine, the head of BMC Studios, explaining the background of BMC, how it started as adapting a theater school project into a game with his friends and following their dreams ever since, with Sexy Comedy being a sketch show while they work on a much bigger animation project. Generally knowing Elaine from chats on Twitter, I know that he's trying to clear the air on what BMC is, but to an outsider it looks like he's trying to preemptively excuse the game by playing up its indie origins, the innocence of the studio, and playing it up as a dry run for a much bigger game. It almost plays like an apology or an excuse pre-programmed into the game. Maybe that's why the subtitle is "It was a mistake." And hey, when I was getting started on YouTube, I made some Thor replacement Rainbow Bridge animations to practice for my zero punctuation knockoff videos. I totally understand the need to dry run and practice. Doesn't change the fact that this game is charging you money to inflict psychological pain upon yourself. People ask me every time I post one of these videos how I endure BMC games, how I can subject myself to them again and again and still remain sane. The simple answer is that they're just video games. They don't affect my sanity, much as Eternal Darkness likes to think otherwise. I play them, I ponder the strangeness, I enjoy riffing them, and I move on with my life. This is the first BMC game I've played that's hurt me on a soulful level. I really did feel dirty after playing it, and part of me feels filthy for bringing attention to it with this video. I decided to follow through with posting this because I choose to believe that BMC was just experimenting with this game, didn't understand what they were doing with these piece of shit jokes, and that BMC will listen and course correct from this abomination. But if this crap happens again, I won't be held responsible for what I do. I was hoping to segue out of this video by saying that next time reviewing live-action cutscene game The Quiet Man and it would make BMC look good, but pretentious nonsense that had to patch in plot explanations sounds pretty good right about now.